First Bank Stadium, Nashville, Tennessee. We're back here as the season has now finally concluded. Tennessee 10-2 as the Vols defeat Vanderbilt 36-23 on the road. I'm Trevor McGee, joined alongside nobody as we're officially in the post-Caleb Jarrow era. Tennessee came out. They did not look good to begin with. 14-0 deficit to begin. Junior Sherrill took the opening kickoff 100 yards to the other end zone, and Tennessee was immediately down 7-0 after 13 seconds of play. Vanderbilt answered with a fumble on Tennessee's first drive, put a touchdown in, went up 14-0 before the Vols finally had an answer. Tennessee looked awful, to say the least, to start out with, but then things got better. Across the middle, on the other end zone, Tennessee finally scored as Dante Thornton got into the end zone. Later in the half, Tennessee got an 86-yard touchdown from Dante Thornton. He had 2 catches for 114 yards with 2 touchdowns at one point before adding a third reception. At halftime, it was 24-17 Tennessee after a Miles Kitzelman score up the seam in that far end zone. And that's when things finally went Tennessee's way. It didn't look good, and then it did. Tennessee took that 24-17 lead. They went on to win 36-23. And the biggest takeaway has to be the bounce back of the offense. They never wavered. Nico Iamaleava threw another career high, or tied a career high with 4 passing touchdowns, had 250 yards passing, as he really looked as efficient as he's been all year. We've said it each week. I've said it each week. He's been really close to looking phenomenal. And this week he finally put together an almost complete performance. He said post-game, it wasn't his best because he still threw a pick, but it was as good as he could be if you take that interception away. The running game, Dylan Sampson, 175 yards, now in sole possession of the single-season rushing record, breaking Travis Stevens' record from 2001. Dylan Sampson now has 4 single-season records for Tennessee this year, as he is now at 1,400 yards rushing. On the defensive side, Jermod McCoy had a game-changing interception in the end zone right behind me. It was a tip play. He said it was his favorite interception of the year, even though that Bama game, he had an interception in the end zone as well. A true sophomore really making plays. And for Vanderbilt, things just didn't go very accordingly after those first 2 scores. The Commodores put together 2 scoring drives, and then the rest of the game, they only had 1 more. It was not ideal if you're Clark Lee and the Commodores after taking that advantage. The rest of the defense did really well, as Vanderbilt was held to only just over 200 yards. Once again, no box score in my hand, so I'm kind of going off the dome with what I remember. But Tennessee, 500 yards of offense. Vanderbilt had 200, so with 300-yard discrepancy, and that's just not going to cut it when you're looking to knock off your rivals. At many points, it did look like Vanderbilt was going to escape with the win, but it did not happen, as Tennessee now all but officially has clinched the spot in the college football playoff next month. As this field right here is where it happened. 2 years ago, they took a 56-0 win after a heartbreaking loss to South Carolina that knocked them out of the playoff. This year, with the expanded 12-team playoff, they're now basically officially in. Heupel said it post-game. He said there's an expectation that you get to that point here at Tennessee, and just a couple seasons into his tenure, Tennessee has met that expectation. It is a standard, and he has set that. Tennessee now sits, and they have to wait for the selection show next Sunday to figure out where they'll be playing, which it could be a possibility that Neyland Stadium is a host site next month. December 19th and 20th is the first round. As we go ahead and wrap up the coverage here from First Bank Stadium, it is just me. I have it all. Unfortunately, a sole proprietorship here, as I done all I can. Already have a gamer up. Gonna have 5 critical moments from the game here soon. Gonna throw a story together on Dylan Sampson breaking the record, but once again, all 12 regular season games this year, the Daily Beacon has had coverage. I'm Trevor McGee. Good evening, good night, all of the above here from First Bank Stadium.